Hello and welcome to EXP Required, where we talk about Final Fantasy and other things. I'm Jack, and I'm as always joined by Mole. How are you doing, Mole?
I'm at the point in my life where every time I open my bedroom window, every spider in the world comes in, and I'd like to tell them to just stop it. Absolutely stop it. I'm sick of spiders in my bedroom. But other than that, I'm good. I'm very excited for today. Keen-eyed listeners have probably already noticed by the title that we have a very special guest on today, probably our highest profile one yet. If everyone could join me in welcoming the illustrious David Menkin, voice of Barnabus Tharmr. David, how are you doing?
I don't have any spider problems, but mildly hungover. But
wonderful.
Other than that, I'm great.
That's what we like to hear.
That is definitely what we like to hear. That's good.
So, David, thank you very much for spending your time with us lowly peons of the world. Obviously, we're a couple of big Final Fantasy fans. Like, that is kind of the reason that we approached you in the first place. We're going to talk with you a little bit liberally about just Final Fantasy stuff and behind the scenes to begin with, and then talk a little bit more generally about your work afterwards. We're going to flip it around this time. So I guess primarily, it's worth saying that for both of us, Final Fantasy XVI isn't our favourite in the series. We have talked about this at length, but the one thing that we have always agreed on is that the voice work has been impeccable. Tip to toe, nothing about the voice work in 16 was disappointing. So thank you for your contributions, first and foremost.
Thank you.
I guess my first question is, 16's got a pretty rich cast of voices. Like, there's accents of all kinds. I think we've got Northern, we've got RP, obviously we've got the Scandinavian accents from yourself. I was kind of always assuming it was intentionally directed that way, because there's a couple of other characters with similar accents to the one that you used. Yeah. Was it something you were directed, or was that something that you got to come up with and decide for yourself?
Well, first of all, do you know that 16 is the first one where they set the originating language as English?
Yes. Yeah, and that's a big step away from the way that they normally record things.
Yeah, it's a big difference. So what we had was a team in London and then a team in Japan as well. And it was made very clear when I was working on 14 Shadowbringers, playing a character called Magnus.
Yes.
And at the very end of the process, they sent me through some sheets and they said, can you come in and do an audition for this? And they didn't tell me anything about it. And then they said, yeah, we kind of like the same style of accent, but we need a different type of character and so on. And then I went in and auditioned and gave them a few options. And it was the same studio that Ben did his, magical audition in. Yeah, not at the same time. I wasn't there to witness it. And then when I got the job, they specifically said to me that they were sort of building the world around me, and they said, and maybe a few other people. So
that's cool. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah. So they said, we're going to, we're gonna set the accent with you, and then we're going to get other people to sort of try to fit into that sort of area, accent wise. So that's how that started.
Wow.
And then, so I didn't know that Nina was doing it. I didn't know that Gunnar was doing it. We were kept so segregated. And I mean, it was to the point where during lockdown, when I would pass with a good, 2 meter distance, Ben every week back and forth, that finally he went, your voice sounds like you just want to have sex with me. And I was like, well.
Yeah, that sounds like Ben.
That does sound very Ben-coded, yes.
Yeah, it is. So, and then and Gunnar is Icelandic, Nina is Norwegian, and I guess from that, they sort of had their base characters, and then they got lots of other people to impersonate us, and
wow,
yeah. So that's how that came about.
Awesome.
And then I came in and I did my heightened RP bullshit for a few sort of random guards and stuff. But for the most part, it was just Barnabus for me.
Fantastic. Okay, I guess an extension question on from that then, because obviously Barnabas is the dominant of Odin, and he's one of the. He's not the main villain, but obviously spoilers heavy here. He's not the main villain, but he's the. I guess in a way,
you kind of think he's going to be, don't you?
Yes, he's the main antagonist, I would argue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously Final Fantasy does quite a lot of that, where it's like the real villain is this person the whole time. Obviously, this game hints at a broader thing going on. But FF16 in particular, probably in a different way than a lot of Final Fantasies, is very shades of grey. Obviously, there's the kind of Game of Thrones-esque, that it's less good and evil, it's more these characters are grey. So the question for me is, did you play Barnabas as a villain, or did you play him as more of a grey character?
I played him as a zealot.
Right.
Good. Nice.
That's what I did. I mean, anybody who monologues as much as Barney does revels in their role in the world. And when you find out that, when you're someone who is, in essence, invincible, they can do whatever they want. I don't know. That doesn't really happen in the real world. We don't see people in power getting to the point where they feel like they can get away with anything. That doesn't happen in real life, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't take any of that on board whatsoever, because I've never seen it in real life. We've got nothing historical or current to help us with that. So yeah, I just made it up. No, anyone that is willing to monologue instead of just kill, anyone who's willing to take the time to explain what they're doing and sort of giving crumbs about why, they are someone who revels in their role. But I don't ever believe that any kind of smart villain revels in being evil, because I don't think that even narcissists think that way. I don't think that yes, fine. In sort of cartoon land, it's really fun to revel in being evil and have script where you say, "Hello, welcome to my lair."
Skeletal stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But when it comes to story-driven narrative, I think that it's much more important that we consider the fact that this is someone who has spent a very, very long time being told and believing that something big is going to happen if I fulfill my work. And while that's happening, nothing else really matters except for power and subservience, I guess. My own towards someone and others towards me. And I guess that for Barnabas, a lot of it felt like a game. So if you see in the first time Clive and Barnabas meet, Barnabas isn't sure that he's worthy, and he almost doesn't fight. And finally, and he doesn't. He stays in his form. He doesn't do anything because he is that good, and he cuts virtually every sinew in Clive's body before he leaves him, and sort of tells Clive that he's not worthy of this fight yet. So he has to realize, you have to realize your destiny, and when you do, then you might have a chance to defeat me. Now, Barnabas knows that if he's going to fulfill the prophecy, that is what's going to happen. So you have to be a zealot in that case. You have to be someone who believes that their own sacrifice is what is going to create Jesus.
Yeah.
Well definitely.
Said. Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. I suppose I've never actually thought of Clive as being, obviously there's a messianic, but I never thought the Jesus connection I never actually made. That's a good point.
I'm not sure that anyone said that to me, but that's kind of what I had to...
totally.
What I had to do to understand Barnabas.
That's cool. Going on from that one then, do you remember any scenes that you particularly enjoyed doing?
I got to part the sea, Mal. I got to part the sea.
I guess it doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, true.
So if we're sticking with sort of biblical things, I part the sea. And then I calm down and I just walk very slowly.
Oh God, I think in the
Yes.
actual game, that's a fight that you physically cannot win as
You
well.
can't win it, yeah.
And I was
was
playing with a couple of friends, and we were all like sharing the controller between us, and it wasn't my turn, and I'm like, you fucked up, like, please, oh my God, give it to me. And like, Barnabus is just, yeah, Barnabus is just coming towards you, and I'm like, he's gonna kill us in real fucking life if we're not careful. Oh. So well done on the villain. Yeah. I think you got it perfect.
Thank you very much. And that was the moment, I think, when I asked about when it comes to how dominants are affected by weather, by distance.
Yes.
And Ollie and Morgan from Schlock, who are the people that I work mainly with. They're sort of a narrative team that works very closely with Square Enix. They told me that, you have to think of him having like an internal amplification device. He can hear everything, and anyone can hear him, and he can be, if he wants you to hear him, you will hear him. And that was really fun, because then I stopped worrying about feeling the need to sort of go, hey, if you just submit it now. That made my life a lot easier.
I can imagine, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, because of course spoilers galore here, so you need to put that in your.
That's okay. Yeah, we're all about them.
Yeah. The time when they told me about the scene where it seems like I'm having sex with one character, and then it turns into another character.
Yes.
And then it turns into a third character. And it is a scene that has freaked a lot of people out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because, we don't like to talk about the fact that historically, mothers and sons have been very close.
Yeah.
And it was this thing where I didn't ask because I thought it was implied that even though that I'd been in a very sexual moment previously, the sight of my mother, wasn't there to turn me on, but it freaked gamers out because Barnabas was nude, and because it was, and then suddenly, and so I seriously thought that it would be understood that the gift that Ultima was giving at that moment was the gift of intimacy and the gift of seeing his mother again.
Of comfort is what I took away from that scene.
Yes, exactly. And therefore, there was a really interesting sort of final moment that we had very, very late in the game. I don't think it was my last session, but it was Barnabas's death. And it was the fact that somehow, even though Ultima wasn't involved in that moment, the fact that Barnabas's last utterance, the last thing he, in essence, saw, was the fact that he was coming back to his mother, because his mother was killed in front of him. It was very clear when we were working on it that it was a moment of deep trauma for him. And it was something, when you are that powerful that you are not able to bring that back, and you're not able to work through it. And then you have your deity speaking directly to you, who has the ability to have you interact with your trauma. Because I wasn't able to see any of this. I was told about it, and then we would do the scene.
Right.
And so therefore it was a very, very big moment. Like, fine. I got to scream and yell and cut, and they played a version of what I would sound like with the filter on.
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I had an idea of that, and we sort of had to, we then had to tone things down, because actually I went too far, because I can be loud, and I can be quite extreme in my work. And then you realize, actually putting the filter on means that certain things are lost. And so therefore you have to sort of bring a little bit of intimacy back to it. But anyway, to answer your question, just being able to figure out how to get the core, the moment of humanity into this demigod's voice as the last thing he does, because, since he's Akashic, he's in essence dead anyway. But it's this wonderful moment of life before death,
Mm.
which I
Okay.
thought was beautiful. I don't know how that applies across the Final Fantasy series. So let me just also bookend that by saying that this may not be what the team intended.
Of course.
Because I came to, I came to all of this relatively blind and kind of reveled in that because I got to play around and I got to understand it my own way.
I think you're very lucky in that sense. I mean, the both of us have spent pretty much our entire lives playing the Final Fantasy series, and anytime, and I can only speak for myself here, but anytime I get to interact with someone who's like fresh into it or experiencing a title that I've known for my entire life with completely fresh eyes, it's always genuinely a delight to get to hear their feedback and see it from a new, fresh perspective, I guess. And hearing all that it really resonates with me. There's another character that I'm thinking of in Final Fantasy Tactics, and this is a scene exclusive to the PSP remaster, where a character is brought back and you have to kill him again, and everyone loves it because he's a classist piece of shit, to put it lightly. I think they pretty much only brought him back so you could kill him again, and everyone loved it.
Yeah.
But in this second battle, when he's brought back and he's very specifically undead, the last thing that he does when he dies is call out for his mother. And I'm one of these people that really loves, like, the genuinely unapologetic shithead characters. Like, I loved Joffrey in Game of Thrones. He was my favourite character, so I loved this character. And then hearing him call out for his mother, the same way that Barnabas calls out for his mother, like, it's pure cinema, honestly. Like, that stuff is crack to me. There's no other way to put it. And I guess going hand in hand with that, then you being able to come in, and especially from like a back end view of this as well, and get to interpret the character in your own way, and obviously discuss with a narrative team and the actual localization team as well, I'm assuming. You've said something previously in an interview for, I think it was Gaming Magazine, where you mentioned there's characters that speak to you as queer without anything being explicitly mentioned within the text. And I think we're all very aware that in fandom, that's something that we all love to do anyway. We love reading into things. We love being able to see ourselves and stuff. And there's one example from an interview with a couple of actors from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
I am, yes.
The actor Andrew Robinson, who plays Garrick, he said when he was being directed for the scene where he meets Bashir for the first time, I think, he walked into the room and he realised that his co-actor was one of the most beautiful young men he'd ever seen. And he immediately was like, I don't want to do any of this spy shit. That's action. Can't do anything with this. I want to fuck him instead. Like, characters coming to life and speaking to the actors is something that I really respect anyway. Yeah. And that interview with the Deep Space Nine characters really spoke to me, I guess, as a reflection of Clive and Barnabas as well, because I can really see that in Barnabas and Clive. I can see that, not explicitly sexual tension, but definitely homoerotic, I guess is the word that I would use.
Yeah, sure.
Was that something that you consciously brought to the role, or is that just something that I have fandom eyes for, I guess?
No. So, I mean, headcanons are great.
Mm-hmm.
They are great, and they inspire a lot of fan fiction. But I do the same for the characters that I work on, and it is clear that if you're, everyone talks about how, the vampires that have been alive for hundreds of years, they've done everything. And also, what worked for me was the fact that I saw Barnabas as someone who desperately wants to feel alive.
Mm.
Okay.
And therefore, one of the things that people do in order to feel alive is a lot of times you see them fall into things like sex addiction. And because what you're aiming for is that time when you have that connection, when you have the moment of intimacy.
Yes.
And it seems to be that sort of our theme today. It didn't mean for it to be, but intimacy is very much something that I saw with Barnabas, and I saw that the way I thought about it was Clive is the only one who can understand.
Yeah.
Clive is the only one who can potentially get this. He's also much younger than me. I probably see a lot in him. And we all know that Barnabus fucked everyone and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't anything. So therefore, the queerness was implicit as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
But also, and then we have to be careful about the fact that, we are, because it wasn't Peggy 18, was it?
16, I think. It might have been 18.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've not got the box.
Yeah. But to a certain extent, we didn't want to, really like shove it in their faces.
Yeah.
We wanted to, there was a lot of stuff that you sort of went, okay, well, you can feel this way, but don't go over the top with it, because it's also for the player to experience. You have to let the player embody Clive however they want to, and they feel they should in order to make it work. So yes, I think that my main aim, at its base, yes, fine, Clive, I want to fuck you. I also want to fuck you up. I want to punish you. I want to be you. I want to be inside you. I want you to be inside me. Oh my God, you're going to clip this.
I'm just thinking, I want this on a t-shirt, honestly.
Yeah, no. But at its core is because I think you understand me. And I think you can potentially understand me, because that is pretty much everything Barnabas says. Don't you understand? Why don't you get it? Just do this. Let go of what you think is real and embrace what is really real, so that mythos can happen. And then you'll be happy. I'll be whatever I am after this. And yeah. So yeah, the queerness, I guess, is there, because let me take it back to this thing where a lot of times I am asked to go extremely low in my vocal register and to be what's seen as sort of alpha male, because I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
And I made it very clear in the studio that that's not how I see him. If you have been doing this for a long time, you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. So why try to force your voice down? Why not just relax?
Yeah.
Why not just be him and just use as little effort as is possible just to talk to someone? Because that's power.
And it's more chilling as well. Far more frightening. Yeah.
That's power. So, yeah. And fine. Men can, you hear about gay voice and you hear about all these things. And I was very careful not to scare my employers, while also making it clear that I see this man who probably started out as a very straight man when he was alive, when he was young, and got bored.
It's just the experience of having a life that just doesn't end at that point, isn't it? You need something to continue being alive.
Absolutely. So why not try everything?
Yeah.
And find opportunities in that.
No, I absolutely love that. And I mean, it's no secret that FF16 is the first overtly queer game in the Final Fantasy series, and I do use bunny quotes with that one because, of course, you can read any character as queer, but obviously it has Dion Lesage, who is the first out-and-out queer character, and we're big proponents of Dion in this household. But as a queer person myself, being able to see that on screen and implicitly recognize that just from a vocal performance alone is... I don't really have the words for it. It's dizzying almost to be able to recognize that and know that you almost have a superpower in being able to recognize that and connect with that in a way that not everyone will do, especially if, as you've said, people are able to play Clive and see Clive the way that they are. And I don't feel bad in assuming that probably a majority of people are going to be straight men. And that's absolutely fine, more power to them. But there's more than that.
And it's a game made in a society that isn't really that accepting.
Yes.
Of the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put it that way. So a huge step by these people.
Yeah, big time.
And I know that the game dev world worldwide is very queer.
Big time.
You you have a lot of people who have spent a lot of time in bedrooms and in basements trying to escape from their world because they're in, excuse the term, buttfuck USA.
Yes.
And they are different, and they fall in love with the world that's on the screen, and they get the chance to do that. Now, I think that by sort of creating a Game of Thrones world, that the creators of this game gave themselves license to go there. And I take my hat off to them because they got pushback.
Yeah. I think one of the big things leading up to the release was knowing that it was, I can't remember if it was fully banned or just slightly censored in, I think it was the Middle
Saudi.
East. Yeah, Saudi, that was right. And hearing that was like, I think that was the first moment where obviously I was following production anyway, but I sat up at that point and was like, and they're not pulling this one back. Yeah. This has got something going for it.
Absolutely. And let's also keep in mind that, I mean, talk about a country giving a game the best press you could ever do. Like, these days, how do you ban a game?
Oh, yeah. I thought we were way past that. I mean, I remember growing up and Manhunt and Bully and Grand Theft Auto, it's ruining our generation. And yeah, you're completely right.
Oh, by the way, that's coming back.
Oh, yes.
By the way, that is definitely coming back. We are dealing with a situation, an ongoing situation at the moment in the end of September 2025, where gaming culture is going to get blamed.
Yes, again.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, that's all really, really good stuff. And I think one thing I'll jump in as well, because obviously I'm a straight dude.
My condolences.
Yes. No, yeah.
I knew that was coming. I didn't want to be the one to say it.
I love it. I think the way I'd phrase it from my perspective, using my own words, is that there's a lot of culture there that is, I guess, implicit was the word that Mol used, that I identify with. Now I'm like I said, a straight guy, but I guess the being alone and being your own person culture is something that I've always identified with. So I think in a way it's one of those things where play a game like this with all these implicit and explicit moments, and I actually related to it more than some of the straight coded parts of the game. So as a person, I don't feel ashamed of saying that because that's who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin.
It's the healthiest relationship in the game.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt, absolutely. Sir Terence, I refused to not call him Sir Terence, and yeah,
we've been through
Sir Terence, not Terence. It's Sir Terence.
It's just one word. It's okay.
It's Sir Terence, just one word. So no, yeah, that's. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's. I'm really interested in seeing more fiction that's like that because I think to me it's an exciting thing to explore because it's not me exploring sexuality, it's me exploring stories that I've not been made aware of.
Absolutely. And we can at this point confirm that this game did not make you gay.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not at all. No.
There you go.
No, exactly.
I'm claiming that one.
Not this game. No, not at all. No.
I think. God.
Just wait for He-Man to come out in cinemas. Everything will change.
I've got 4 non-blondes in my head now. God damn. I think if we pull it very briefly back to the concept of intimacy, then. How do I phrase this? It comes back to, again, being a narrative structure and not a gay-straight divide or whatever you want to call it. This is a story, and Final Fantasy stories have been well known for doing this for decades anyway. The stories are what pull people in. It's what connects people. And yeah, you're completely right in that people sat alone thinking that they're different and then finding out that they're not through some kind of story, whether that be fictional or non-fictional, is such a great connector. And it's that kind of intimacy that I personally just love seeing online. Like, that's why I'm such a big proponent of online communities, of fandom as a whole, because you can connect with people. You can see a different side of life, I guess, just from experiencing these stories. So thank you for that entire monologue, actually, because that was just such a perfect. I could not have asked for a more perfect answer, actually.
Well, that's just how I feel. And, there's lots of things that there are a lot of mistakes that games make. There's a lot of stuff where people become very, very focused on telling one story and then they disregard another. And I don't think that games. I think they get a bad rap because they're expected to fulfill everyone. But what they're doing is they're there to, I think, challenge. Because, well, that's what gameplay is.
Yeah.
You don't start the game knowing how to finish it. You have to learn how to do it. You have to get close to rage quitting. And then you step away from the game for a night and you come back and you go, oh, I should have done that. And then you learn because you learn how to play the game. You start to understand how to make things work. You get educated by the game. And I'm not saying that Final Fantasy 16 has an ulterior motive to teach you how to be a better person or to become more queer or whatever it is. But it's there to teach you about relationships and to teach you about loss.
Yeah.
And maybe it can help you channel, fine. If you're a 14-year-old who doesn't know how to access their feelings and you, through Clive, figure out that you, quotation marks, killed your brother, and you're able to have an emotional reaction to that, and it connects with something that's happened in your life, then I say that that's a good thing.
Yep, I agree.
What's that phrase?
But
Good art challenges. Like, that's the underline, always.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, there's no gay agenda in this game because the people who made it, for the most part, aren't.
If there was a gay agenda, we would have had a Dion DLC at this point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like that's happening. So
absolutely, Stuart is ready. He is primed.
Boo! Oh dear. Right, I think that marks a perfect point for us to take a little break then. And when we come back,
I can have a coughing fit.
And when we come back, we can speak a bit more generally about your acting experience.
Okay, we'll take a short break and be back in a little bit. Hello and welcome back after that short break. And we just want one thing to jump in for. Well, we didn't mention the weather at the beginning of the episode, which we normally do. It's really terrible.
It's turned cold. I hate it. There you go. That's my analysis.
I've got a question for you, actually, David. Obviously, you've got a very diverse background. Like you've moved around a lot and stuff like that. And is it with British culture? Is that a distinctly British thing? Talking about the weather.
It is when I speak to anyone British. Every conversation at some point will lead to weather.
It just happened now.
Yeah. Norwegians talk about, so like we talk about a few things. We talk about when the first snow is come, then you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Then when you're sick of the snow, and then when you're able to have the first beer outside. And trust me, you will sit there with like blankets and a heating lamp and stuff like that. But it's like the weather's good enough for you to do it.
Damn right.
Yeah, but we don't talk about the weather every day.
Honestly, my working assumption is that if British people have nothing to complain about for 24 hours, they'll just die on the spot.
That's what we're like. We're differently.
Yes, absolutely. I like how, when you were asked how you were, it was a rant about spiders, and then, yeah, but then I'm generally okay.
Yeah.
The world's ending, but I'm okay. That's cool. We're good.
No more spiders if the world's ended. That's all I'm saying.
No, we don't want that. They're beautiful creatures. They're not beautiful looking creatures, but they're very useful creatures.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we'll go back into some questions then. So these are more general as opposed to Final Fantasy. So I actually spoke with Neil Newbin recently at a TED Talk, and he mentioned that, I don't want to use the exact words, but basically someone asked him a question about different forms of acting and asked him about whether he approaches voice acting differently to quote-unquote normal acting, theatre acting or in front of the camera acting. And his kind of response was around saying that it's basically part of the same pool and the same skill, it's all the same thing. So do you approach your work with the same mindset, or do you have a different approach to voice work versus stage and or in front of the camera stuff?
Well, first of all, we don't have to, put on makeup. We don't have to wait for a whole team of people around us to settle while they've had to build an entire room around me. When you go in, you can fuck around, you can chat, you can have a good time, and then the engineer just goes, and recording, and then you get to go. So some people have a problem with sort of shifting from being themselves to being the character, and they enjoy being on set more because they can stay in the moment.
Yeah.
So they can go off to a corner and they can, do that thing. What's expected kind of in order to be a good actor in video games, for example, is the ability to also reset to zero. That's, people don't think about the fact that when I've done a scene where I'm wailing and screaming about, something terrible has happened to me or someone I love, we come to the end of that. I have to do that up to 7 times. I have to be able to stop the flow, reset, make my voice sound like it did at the beginning of the scene, and then go from there. And that's my job. Now, I think it's easier because I don't have to worry about, was I crying? What was happening? What does my face look like? Do we have to have makeup come and do final checks on me and things like that? So there is a freedom in recording video games, but it's also very lonely. I usually only have a narrative director who's there, or a performance director to work with. Now they're starting to get better at bringing us in together to do ensemble records, which is great. But when you're filming on a set, when you're on stage, you're working with other actors, unless it's a monologue, unless it's just you on stage. So what happens is that, yes, I do feel that it's sort of from the same body of water, but then it sort of floats down to the sea in different ways. Animation is different to games because we talked about being a villain earlier. Kids animation, the villain lets the world know that they're the villain. Adult animation, there's still a bit of a factor of that. You still know who the bad guy is because of the way things are set up for animation. It's usually either sort of 12 minutes, or if it's adult animation, 49 minutes. Well, then you have to establish the bad guy and what they're doing. But with games, you can have up to 180 hours.
Yeah.
So you can think that the member of your team who saved you on the mountain is your best friend, and then in the last moment you find out that they're actually the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens with that is that you have to play it differently. So you think about it as sort of long form fiction instead of a novella, I guess. And that affects how you play it to a certain extent. But at the same time, we're just focusing on the scene at hand and what that scene needs to do. My job is to make the people that are in the other room happy with what I've done. And then obviously give them a few options that they maybe didn't think about. But I'm sort of stepping away. I don't mean to step away from your question. Everything, the reason why Neil, for example, is known for being so good in the performance capture and mocap stages is because he is so in touch with his body. He is able to do so much that I have a back injury. I'm not quite able to do the same thing. I'm not able to be as free physically. Because of that, in real life, I've had to become freer with my voice.
Right.
In order to compensate for it. So therefore, he will probably be able to give a more nuanced physical performance on a performance capture set, or in the volume as we call it. But because he's done so much voice work, he and I are probably at the same level when it comes to just being in front of the mic. But we find the things that we are better at, and we are brought back to work on the stuff that we are better at. So I haven't done performance capture now for quite a few years because people hire me to do facial capture and voice capture. That was a meandering answer. I hope I sort of got...
No.
We're very good at tangents.
we're the tangent podcast, definitely. It's great.
So feel free to follow up. I mean, yeah.
One question on slightly, you mentioned animation. It's something that I do a little bit of sort of fan dubbing. I've always liked doing impressions and stuff like that. And one thing I found, I do gaming's, when I say easy, like it tends to be easy with, say, point-and-click adventure games to meet the cadence of the speaking because it goes on for quite a long time because there's text boxes. But one thing I found with doing, say, things like Dragon Ball Z and animation is meeting I think they call it the flaps, don't they, of what the animation is. Lip flaps. is really difficult to do. And quite often what I tend to do as a bit of an editor is I'll add a few more frames in so that I can do my cadence. You obviously can't do that when you're dubbing to an animation. So is that something you've come across much? And do you find it to be something that constrains you, or do you think it's something that allows you to be more creative?
I'm a mutant when it comes to that kind of stuff. I love it.
Fantastic.
I love fitting the lip flaps to my voice, so that, and then when it doesn't work, they call it goldfishing.
Okay. Yeah.
It looks like the character's going.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's because my earlier jobs involved, because I entered the dubbing and localization space before I became a voiceover artist for like the US and the UK. So I was sort of making, let's say, a British or a German interview work for a Norwegian audience. So I would go in and they were like, you don't have to worry about, you can have them start to talk and then you start and then you finish before they do. And I was like, no, I want to try to make it work so that it almost looks like they're talking.
Mm.
And I had some great teachers who taught me things. So, for example, a trick, if anyone else does fan dubbing, is actually to read along silently with the character. So you're speaking everything, just you're not vocalizing it.
Okay.
And we have a capacity in our brains to make it fit. So it's something that really works.
Okay.
So I'll just go, can I do a silent take, please? Or, I just want to practice. I just want to, can you play the video for me while and there I'll be like, oh yeah, you're not on video, but you'll see me saying everything, but you won't hear me saying anything.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I'll write that down.
I have to remember that one, yeah. It makes me think of all the times that I've probably walked out. Actually, I think I was doing it yesterday, walking down the street, listening to music and like really going for it and nothing is coming out. I did that once as a teenager on my way back from school on the bus, and it was like I was stuck in traffic, really going for it. I was listening to a really rocky song, and I don't know why, but I looked out of the window and there was some guy in the car like stuck in traffic on the other side of the road, and he just went, hey. I've never been so embarrassed in my life.
My headcanon is that's Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. That's my headcanon. Right.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like sort of the brain function, there's this research project where they had 3 basketball teams. The first team, they brought them in and they would just bring them onto the court, and they didn't let them do anything. The second team, they brought them in and they had them visualize shooting hoops from different parts of the court and getting the ball into the net. And then the third group, they got them to actually play. And I think after a month, they checked their progress. And the ones who had visualized it did almost as well as those who had practiced.
Wow, okay.
The ones who did nothing, they sucked.
Yeah.
And that, I think it comes down to the fact that when you are sort of lip flapping and going along with it, but also giving the performance that you are silently, there is something in you that makes it happen.
That's cool. I like that. I'm definitely going to add that to my toolkit.
So I would act along while you're doing it.
Brilliant stuff. I think we've only really got like 1, maybe 2 more questions left, then we won't take up too much more of your time. And this one is just about gaming generally. So I know you've said multiple times that you've only really relatively recently started playing games. Like, it wasn't something you grew up with. I think you said it was over lockdown you first got a PS5 and you started playing Ghosts of Tsushima, I think it was. And that was the moment that you fell in love with gaming, and it's just like... I think the quote that you said was like, you didn't realize that your brain needed to do this and you started being worried about your choices and you cried at the end. I was like, yeah, we got him. He's another one of us now.
Yeah. I am one of you.
One of us.
So my very, very general question here is, what games that you've played have impacted you the most, and why is that? Is it narrative? Is it music? Is it characterization?
It's really interesting, isn't it? I think it's kind of what our brains need. So I grew up with film and TV, and I love a narrative structure. So I am a child of sitting in the dark, watching the story unfold.
Absolutely one of us, right? Got it.
Yeah. But there's certain things that I've realized that my brain needs. So my brain needs puzzles to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to Little Nightmares 3.
Ooh, good one.
I like this feeling of dealing with obstacles and finding my way from one side of the screen to another. It really does feel like a teacher's said, well done, you did it. When the screen dissolves and you move to the next scene or the next moment. Astrobot was such fun. I've never enjoyed dying more.
Yep.
Like I would giggle when I'd fall off or whatever. It was amazing to play a game that was about making it to the end, where somehow they made it so that I didn't mind that I didn't make it. And that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
You're able to do that, because most people will feel very frustrated when they can't make it.
I'm one of those, yeah.
And then, I'm so looking forward to Ghost of Yotei. I'm so furious that I don't have a code yet. That nobody at Sucker Punch knows that this is so important to me. And it's my aim to finally, be at a convention or something where I get to talk to someone so like, you changed my life. And I know that you feel the same way about, if you got to meet any of the team from Square Enix,
yes.
you would, and I know that, me taking a picture next to the Buster Sword when it came, they made an even bigger one put in front of King's Cross Station, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yes, but I got to go to a BAFTA event, and I got to take a picture with it, and I look over and I see Ben's face when he takes that picture, and I go, "Oh my God!" Like I see a little kid, and that's something that I kind of envy, because that's something I didn't have.
Yeah.
But I found my thing. And what you probably envy is that I get to now explore what you got to explore when you were in your formative years.
Yeah. All of us just envying each other.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, yeah.
That's fantastic. I do remember there was another interview, I don't remember the channel's name, but I think you said at one point that Ben sat you down and was like, we're going to have a gaming night. And then you followed that up with, but I think he was drunk, so I don't know if he remembers that. Yeah, I'm assuming that never came to pass then.
Let's just put it this way. Ben's very busy.
Yes, we have gotten that idea.
I am quite busy myself. So instead, we get a chance to catch up, and he's figured out that I'm working on a game that he's gotten to play it at a sort of a gaming convention type thing. Where I haven't been announced. And what was so great was that he at first was just talking at me about how to play the game. And then I guess I looked at him in a certain way, and he was like, oh yeah, and you were fantastic.
Oh, bless.
But what that does is it reminds us that actually people who are coming to these games are not coming to them because of us. We are there to help them have as full an experience as possible. And then at the end of it, we get to help reinforce it. So, the fact that people can talk to me about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that I did many, many years ago. And I think I'm finally out of NDA. So I've had to be really, really careful. None of my colleagues have been careful in any way, shape, or form about talking about it. But there's that part where I feel we are very much, it's a gift that we as actors have been able to find the gaming community and vice versa. And it is thanks to people like Neil, like Ben. There's, loads of people who were gamers who now get to be on the other side and are trying to reinforce that connection and say, we should be involved in the game. Traditionally, actors are seen as being part of the post-production process of a game. And now, bit by bit, we are brought in and we are part of the narrative process. So therefore, we understand the characters because the character will live on. And depending on, it doesn't matter if the game does well or not. there will be fans who are invested in the game.
Yes.
And they get to meet us, they get to talk to us, they get to explain to us what the game meant and how our interpretation was a part of that process. That's really important. So I think that we're at a point, if, games are going to change a lot because of AI.
Yes.
And because the S curve is not infinite. It's, we can't be, there's no way that all these studios can be making these AAA games and have them all be successes. So what's happening is that there's a thing that's happened where these companies are starting to make more indie games with more of a narrative focus. And we get to be part of that. And it's such a gift. And I'm so happy that I've been part of this industry, this art form since I think 2008. And I've been working in it for so long. But now I am fully part of it because I'm not just there to provide. I am also there to consume. So therefore, yes, I am one of you. And it makes these conversations much more interesting. And it enriches my life as an actor, but also as a player. So I just really hope that we get to continue doing this and that it just doesn't all turn into an AI version of a point click adventure.
I have every faith it won't, because I think that, you've got obviously what we're doing with YouTube and Twitch and stuff with Dungeons and Dragons that's going on that's adjacent to all this. I think people generally are seeking that human part of it. In some ways, to me, that part is more important than the actual game itself.
Again, it's the connection, it's the intimacy.
Yeah, exactly. And I really believe that D&D's done a lot of heavy lifting with that. And obviously Baldur's Gate 3, we've alluded to Neil and stuff like that, has kind of been a facilitation across between video games and tabletop games in some way. And that's exploded. And I think that's because of the similar things you said before, of people being sat in their bedrooms doing it on their own and feeling maybe lonely. Without, obviously paraphrasing, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, please. It's exactly what I said.
Essentially, it's opened up that, and I think that's something that's not going to go away. Certain AI and certain things make, always the money always comes in and changes things, but I think that there'll always be room for real human expression and real human, because that's what art is at the end of the day,
Exactly. Yeah, but there are people out there who, because they have the ability to do so, they can get our voices in the style of the character that they love to say things that they want us to say. And I beg them not to do it because it is not part of this process.
Yeah,
I agree.
It is something that worries me because it turns into something else, and it is it's a slightly sad development. I see the excitement behind it, but I think I'll get myself into trouble if I go into specifics about it.
No problem.
But all I can say is that there are such talented people out there who are writing these stories, and then they get really talented people to tell the stories, and then they get you to play those stories. And I hope that continues.
Yes, well said.
Well said. We'll make sure it does.
without getting myself into trouble.
Well, I think that's it for us. We have no further questions, except for one very important one.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that you would ever have the time to play a Final Fantasy game? And if so, would you like a recommendation? Because I have an idea of what I'd recommend you.
Well, is it 8? Is it 8?
It's not,
Ben
funnily
always
enough.
says
For me, it's 8 because Ben's right. It's the best one, right? Just putting it out there.
No, my recommendation system's tailored to each individual person.
Oh, okay. I will write this down.
I can see you really quite enjoying 10. I think 10's got a deeply nuanced story, and it has enough puzzles in it that I think it would scratch your brain pretty well.
Okay.
They are, however, fairly long, so I do not blame you in the slightest if you never get around to them. But absolutely, that's my recommendation for you, David.
Well, you're not the first person to say 10 to me.
Yes, all right.
just for the character of Oren, right? Okay.
Even Oren.
I love Oren. He's fantastic.
Okay. Listeners, there was shaking of heads.
Well, once again, David, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything that you'd like to plug, or whereabouts can people find you online?
So they can find me on Twitter /X and Instagram at David Menkin. I'm on Blue Sky, davidmenkin.com. By the time this one comes out, all have most likely been announced for really interesting game that has been through hell for the developers. So I really look forward to seeing what people think of that.
I'm going to keep my eye out for that one. Then.
Yeah, I am part of the new Hellraiser game.
Ooh.
I am. I can't tell you anything about what I do in that, but that game is hardcore. And then in 2026, something really special is coming out. So,
well, consider my interest piqued.
So I look forward to talking to you about what you think about that.
Excellent.
But the reason why I don't, do that thing of like, post like really exciting day in the studio, because it's just a tease.
Yes.
And nobody feels satisfied. So, hopefully, depending on how quickly you get these out, I think the 1st of October I'll get announced for at least one of them.
Very exciting stuff. Thank you. Jack, whereabouts can we find you online?
Twitter, because I refuse to call it X, is JackMullen8. Everywhere else is JackieBoy34, including Blue Sky and Instagram. Also on YouTube as 2 Random Words. I'm reinvigorating that, but also we can also be found EXP Required, EXP Podcast on YouTube, and EXP Required everywhere else. What about you, Mol?
As usual, I can be found at Adramalek anywhere that there is a social media presence, and I continue to not be able to have the time to post anywhere. That's it from us. Thank you very much again, David.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you
Thank
all
you for
soon.
this intimate chat.
Yes. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.